Thank you. Well, welcome everyone to our first community meeting for Central Park United Neighbors of 2026, and it says 2025 in classic January fashion on our slide deck. So welcome. My name is Liz Stallnaker. I'm the board president for Central Park United Neighbors. We have a mission statement that we read at the beginning of every meeting just to let folks who are newcomers learn a little bit more about us. For 2026, we're going to rotate board members to read the mission statement so that it's not just my gums flapping the whole time. David Kugler is going to read it this month. So
I'm David. I'm the secretary of Central Park United Neighbors. CPUN is the registered neighborhood organization for the Central Park community. We provide a working forum for the residents of Central Park to participate in creating, developing, and fostering a vibrant urban community dedicated to social equity, environmental responsibility, and economic opportunity. At our monthly meetings, we facilitate the discussion of key issues with neighbors, engage in proactive problem prevention, and amicable problem solving. CPUN is committed to providing an inclusive and welcoming environment for all members of our community. Our mission is the betterment of the city of Denver by providing a forum for the residents living in Central Park to discuss and resolve issues, a network of communication, and a means of acting on matters of importance to the community as a whole. We promote public service, civic discourse, collective efficacy, and we are an all-volunteer board of Central Park residents, and we're a 501c3 nonprofit.
And so for our agenda, we've got the welcome agenda overview, which we're doing now. We're going to start with community partner updates since it's been a couple of months since we've heard from the city agencies, DPD, the MCA, and Bluff Lake. And then the next section of the meeting will be our guest speakers, focusing on volunteering and mutual aid opportunities in the community and around the city. We'll introduce folks by name when we get to that portion of the meeting. Then we'll also have a brief, we have a long list of volunteering organizations and opportunities that were submitted by Central Park United Neighbors board members. And I wanted to do a quick run through of that and some specific volunteering opportunities that are coming up in the coming months. Then we'll have a 5-minute break, and then we'll jump into the board hour, which focuses on the work that we do as CPUN's board. It's open to the public. Folks are welcome to stay for that. It has treasurer's report, and then we'll be reporting out actually on emails that we receive through the CPUN website from community members. We'll have a report out on the executive committee meeting that we had on Saturday, and committee planning for 2026. At 8:20, we'll do, before the end of the meeting, we'll do a quick February look ahead. We have 2 events coming up in February. And then at 8:25, since we usually make Kristen stay late to do the welcome back organizing, I wanted to make sure that the last 5 minutes of our meeting are kind of devoted to just like the logistics of that, and we'll turn off the recording at that point. And so without further ado, we'll jump into community partner updates. City Council is actually meeting tonight because of yesterday's holiday. So Jesse sent his bullet points ahead. Basically, they just have 2 updates from the City Council office. Community panels are being organized. Those are kind of panels that are topic-based that advise the city, taken from residents in all of the neighborhoods that make up the City Council District 8. And they provide feedback and input to the District 8 staff around issues that they're seeing and kind of budget recommendations. And so if you can sign up for the District 8 newsletter for more information. Brian, if you could share the link, the sign up link in the chat. And then there's, I know folks are always interested in development updates. There's a typo in there, sorry guys. The near northeast planning initiative is kicking off this spring. And it's primarily for kind of updating planning documents around North Park Hill and Northeast Park Hill, but it does include the sliver of Central Park where the hotel shelters are located. So the District 8 office will be reaching out for folks who live around that area for some input. And so there's more information forthcoming in the District 8 newsletter, and then we'll also include whatever we learn in the CPUN newsletter that goes out twice a month. And so now we have, I believe I saw Lieutenant Hines is on. If you can unmute yourself, and I'll stop sharing my screen so that you can provide your updates from DPD.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. Just double checking everybody can hear me fine.
Yes, we can.
That's excellent. Okay. You know, you get started talking on these things and nobody can hear you, and then you realize you're talking to yourself. It's always sad. But hey, thanks for having us on again tonight. It's great to see everybody back after the new year. For anybody there in person or on Zoom who doesn't know me, I am Kevin Hines, and I'm the lieutenant responsible for Sector 1 in District 5, which is police precincts 511 and 512. What that translates over to is basically all of the Central Park neighborhood that is located within Denver. So I'll run you through a quick update on crime and things that we're seeing and things that you should be aware of, some bright points, some not so bright points. Overall, start with a bright point. Total crime is down 21% in Precinct 511 for the last 28 days, and it's down 3% in Precinct 512 for the last 28 days. And that's kind of tracking consistently with a pattern that we've been seeing for the last few months now. We've actually had some really good numbers, particularly in some areas where we were really struggling over the last few years, like auto theft and theft from motor vehicle. Currently, of the crimes we have reported in both of those precincts, it comes out to approximately 90% nonviolent crime. Our biggest contributor to crime stats in the area is larceny. And of larceny, which is kind of like a catch-all theft, it's like a catch-all theft statute that covers things that wouldn't be covered by burglary, robbery, auto theft, theft from motor vehicle. It's like all the other thefts. The largest component of those is shoplifting, followed by a distant second, which would be package theft. So with the two major retail centers we have here in Central Park, between the shops at Northfield and then Quebec Square, we do have kind of an outsized amount of shoplifting cases in the sector. So the one thing I do want to bring to your attention, though, is that we're seeing kind of a historic pattern you guys have heard me talk about in the past reemerging, and that is that we've seen a sharp increase in open garage burglaries in the past month. So that's something we really want to get a handle on, because it's one of those things we've struggled with in the past. Historically, it's accounted for about 80% of all the burglaries in the Central Park neighborhood. And with us seeing that again, I think part of the reason we're seeing an uptick in this is it's been an exceptionally warm and dry winter. So people have been out and about a lot more than they normally are in January. But be aware of that. Watch out for yourselves and your neighbors. If you find your garage door open, shut it. If you see your neighbors open, let them know about it, and keep an eye out for each other. For our part of it, we have been chasing down some leads. We have identified one suspect we're issuing a warrant on in relation to one of these burglaries. However, we haven't been able to prove or disprove whether or not that individual has been involved in a number of the other ones that have been reported. So I would urge generalized caution on that, and know that we are aware of it and we're looking into it. In terms of a brighter spot we might see for this year, the shelter location over at 4040 Quebec Street, the old Doubletree Hotel, is under new management this year. A company by the name of Urban Alchemy took over operations of that shelter starting on January 1st of this year. So I've had a couple meetings with their leadership team since they got on site, and they're obviously still getting themselves situated since they're in their first couple of weeks out there. But one thing I think the community may appreciate is that Urban Alchemy actually has a community outreach team of their employees that are going out into the neighborhood trying to address issues of people experiencing homelessness that need to find resources or other means of getting to shelter. So we have about a dozen individuals who are out there doing that kind of work, and they're serving an area that covers from Monaco Street to Central Park, from MLK to 56th Avenue. They're going to be coordinating with our team a bit going forward, and hopefully we can reduce some of the effects that a number of you have talked about that you're seeing around your businesses and your homes, and make sure that we're getting people the resources they need to get themselves into a better position. Additionally, with this new team on board, they've indicated to me that they would like to work with us to reach out to the community as a whole more frequently. And so we're planning to have some upcoming community-facing meetings here within the next month or so. We'll probably host those out at our new satellite office over at Quebec Square. If you guys are not aware of that, we have a new satellite location. I believe the address is 7306 East 35th Avenue, but we're located in the same building as the Big Five sporting goods store and just across the parking lot from Ross. So we intend to have a lot of events out there coming up. Our community resource officers will be out there meeting you guys, trying to let you know what we can do to help you make the community a better place, and also getting your feedback on what we can do to make it better. We will be hosting our first Business Watch meeting of the year out there on, my screen froze here. I'll give you the date here in just one second. We have that coming up on February 10th at 10 a.m. So if any of you are affiliated with a local business and would like to come out and meet with us there, we'd be happy to have you. It's a great time to address issues that are of importance to businesses and business owners out here. I also want to bring your attention to the fact that we will be having our monthly commanders meeting on February 19th at 6 p.m. That'll be at our District 5 station at 12025 East 45th Avenue. So just again, so there's not confusion on that, the Business Watch will be at our new satellite office, and the commanders meeting will be at our station. But we would love to have you come out and join us for either of those if they're applicable to you. And before I go here, I know there's a lot of other people who probably want to talk. I did want to take a moment and introduce Lieutenant Joe Engelbert to the group here. Lieutenant Engelbert is serving as the acting commander of District 5 now that Marion Penn is retired. And he's been with us for a few months out there, brings a lot of experience from around the city, and we're really glad to have him with us here in District 5. And I won't speak for him. I'll let him introduce himself here.
Thank you, Kevin. And it's a pleasure to be a part of this group. I'm very excited to be on District 5. I've been on the police department for about 26 years now, and have enjoyed every minute of it, and really look forward to working with everybody. I know I don't want to take a whole bunch of time, from everyone else that needs to speak in the meeting, but just appreciate the opportunity to connect with you all, and look forward to the opportunity to collaborate and communicate further as the year continues, and look at opportunities to build Business Watch out and Neighborhood Watch in the Central Park area. So very, very excited to be working with everyone here. Thank you very much.
And before I turn this over to everyone else, I just want to say, if anybody has any questions, if you want me to address them now, I'm happy to, or if anybody wants to put them in the chat, I'll take a look at them there. But again, thank you for having us, and please let us know how we can partner with all of you this year as we go forward to make the community a better place for all of us.
Thank you. This is Liz in the queue. I think for the two meetings that you mentioned, could you put those in the chat? Actually, we have our next newsletter is going out on Monday. So we'd like to include, I know David wrote them down, but also if you have that information and can put it in the chat or email it to me separately, we'll make sure it gets in the newsletter.
Yeah, Liz, happy to do that. I'll put it in there here in just a moment.
Liz, we got the email on the commanders meeting, so.
Oh,
Great.
okay. Yeah. But I think I hadn't seen the Business Watch.
No.
So, okay. Anyone else have any questions? All right, well, thank you, Lieutenant Hines.
Thank you.
Let's see, and then Trying to, sorry, folks. Just have to, I think the next, community update, we have community partner update. Jack, are you representing the MCA?
I am. Well, thanks everyone. And we are busy at work taking care of the neighborhood. And to do that, we have increased your monthly residential assessment fees. Your HOA fees went up $2 beginning in January. So if you have the fee set to auto pay, make sure that you are updating it by $2 so that you don't get your late notice from us later on this month. Also, we are in the final touches on a new development project in the area that is around the train station. What was transit-oriented development is going to end up being townhomes now, and for development in the area that we call Parcel 8, and that is off of 40th and Central Park Boulevard. At a future meeting, hopefully I can share final renderings for both of those projects with you. For the area around Parcel 8, work is actually underway. A lot of earthwork to do there, you'll notice, and we have to raise the grade by 3 feet to get it out of the floodplain, which 3 feet doesn't sound like a lot until you realize how much dirt that requires. So we are hard at work there. Also want to update the group on work that we have been engaged in for the better part of the last year around safe streets, traffic safety improvements around several of the schools in the northern part of the neighborhood. We, working with the city, we've been able to install new signage around the Willow Elementary School, and from what we've heard from the school leadership team, that seems to be working to make sure that folks are parking where they need to be parking. Work continues with traffic safety related improvements around the Paul Sandeville campus. Unfortunately, that has hit a bit of a snag. Dottie has been rather non-responsive of late. So that has stalled out. Park Creek Metro District was able to convey all of Central Park Boulevard to the city. So the city has all the tools it needs to be able to execute on those traffic safety improvements. Just need to work with them to get that across the finish line. Finally, though, some good news, which is around the Inspire Elementary School. We are in the design phase of work to install new pedestrian crossings near that school to make sure that kids are able to get from the school to the parking lot. And we hope to have that project in motion, hopefully in the next couple of months, so that it is, we're trying to move that project very quickly. That's what we got. Our board meets tomorrow. If anybody is interested in learning more about what the MCA is up to, we're back there in the cube, 12 p.m. Wednesday. Thanks, Liz.
Jack. I think, have you been, I guess, in terms of who you've been in touch with at Dottie, about the, I guess where you've kind of like lost contact there, are you in touch, I guess, in touch with, is it Maggie?
We're working with Maggie Thompson, and then we're also working with Amy Ford, the department's executive director. We've been working with her directly. I'm willing to bet she has a lot on her plate, so we are recognizing that she's juggling a lot and being flexible with her time as we continue to work through the issues. But Amy has been very engaged and very thoughtful, wanting to make sure that we address the issues. It's just how we're able to fit those puzzle pieces into the larger puzzle.
Does anyone else have any questions for Jack about the MCA? Okay, thanks, Jack. And I think we have, next we have Bluff Lake. We have Phila at Bluff Lake.
Yeah, hi. Me okay?
Now we can, yes.
Yay. Okay, great. So I can either bring up, I think that y'all have the information too, but I can also bring it up because we have our grand opening celebration finally, which we're very excited about. It's going to be on February 14th. And we're going to have we're going to have a ribbon cutting, but we'll also have a bunch of other activities and things like that to celebrate since this has been obviously a project that we've been working on for a really long time. So from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., we'll be having activities. We'll have the both buildings will be open, so we'll be able to do, oh yeah, there it is. Yay. um, we will be able to give people tours of both buildings. Predominantly, we'll be having the activities in our public building. So there'll be a lot of stuff kind of showcasing the different programming that we can do, especially now with the building that we have, but also the stuff that we've been just, doing ongoing, even with that part of the site closed down. We'll be having like a scavenger hunt that will be going down our new trail, which we're really excited about. We'll have snacks and that kind of thing as well available. So we're just really excited to finally be able to open up that area to the public. And if anyone has any questions about the project or about the event, please let me know. I'll drop the link in the chat, and that also has my email address in the like it's a news item and it has my address in there. But there's just yeah, a lot to be excited about now that this is finally happening.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, congratulations.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
And we will, our next newsletter goes out on Monday, so I know that we'll be including this in that update as well.
That's perfect timing. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. I know we're a couple of minutes behind, so I'm going to move on to the next. So we have tonight's topic. We have guest speakers talking about volunteering opportunities and mutual aid. Wanted to kind of kick off, I think, kick off the year and kind of get some energy. I know that there's just kind of a lot of folks kind of wanting to do things. And that's part of, I think, our role as the registered neighborhood organization is to try to connect people with, whatever sort of volunteering or mutual aid opportunities, or, kind of other community building activities that are good fits. So we have guest speakers. We have Dana Miller is here, which I think you wear many hats. So I'll let you introduce yourself. We have Kathy Moser-Eckelkamp, who runs, you're one of the, I think, kind of the admins for the Central Park Volunteers Facebook group, but also you're going to talk about, I think, Every Child Pediatrics, which is kind of how you came into starting the Facebook group. And then we have a number of folks from the Denver Rotary Club, Dan Hall, Noreen Kelesian, and Marty Waters. And so just to kind of provide a little bit of context for this is okay. In our community survey last year, it was the first year we included a question about levels of civic engagement among respondents. And so we asked folks, if just basically to indicate as, and they could respond to as many prompts as they wanted. Just different ways that they're involved in the Central Park community and our great, like, kind of larger community in the city. So the top responses are attending community meetings, events, and performances. Then The second kind of most common response was volunteering at schools, volunteering with a community service organization. And then below that is folks who don't volunteer at this time. And then kind of community involvement along religious services, book or crafting club, serving on a local board or committee, playing team sports, running club, people whose professional work already includes community service, and volunteering with a civic or political organization. And then for those of us who are in choirs, we include the last item on the list is performed with an arts related organization, either choir or a theater. And so the kind of greatest number of, or kind of share of involvement was around community meetings, events, performances as attendees, volunteering at schools, and volunteering with service organizations. So I just kind of wanted to contextualize a little bit of just the kind of civic engagement within the Central Park community that came out in our survey last year. All right, and then just framing questions for the folks who are speaking. Just what does your organization do, or in what ways do you volunteer? How did you personally get involved? And what are upcoming volunteer needs and opportunities? And so I'm giving folks about 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how much they have to share. And then after that, we'll go into just a much more an open Q&A and discussion, open discussion among attendees and speakers to share words of wisdom. I know that all of us who are on the board are volunteers with this organization, but also in many other, I think all wear many hats in the community and have a lot of information to kind of share. And then specifically for the folks that we invited, we wanted to brainstorm ways that the CPUN board can partner and collaborate with speakers. And so I guess without further ado.
Except I have a question.
What is your question?
The third, what are upcoming volunteering needs and opportunities? I'd like you to include, if you aren't including it, something about students or age possibilities with your organization. Thank you.
And so I guess I guess if folks don't mind, if we could go in the that we introduced folks. So I'm going to, I mean, you're only going to see a tiny, for those of us who are in the room, it'll just be like a tiny little blip of a person at a table. Okay. But I do want to just kind of turn off the slide deck for the moment and just kind of connect the room with the Zoom meeting. And then, so Dana, if you'd like to start.
Just a quick question. Were Jean or Joel going to come and talk about Know Your Rights training stuff? Okay, never mind.
No.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dana Miller. My pronouns are she, her. I am the co-lead of Denver's Immigrant Partnership Team. We now have over 26 immigrant partnership teams across the state. And we're all doing all sorts of stuff to show up for our immigrant neighbors. We have now teams in places like Cortez and Alamosa and Pueblo, and now in Peonia, and Arvada, and Aurora, and Denver, all over the place. Lots and lots of things we're doing, and we've been doing for the last year. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing and some other things that are going on, but I'm not going to give you any websites or anything because there's so many different things I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to keep repeating my email. So anybody has any questions about any of the stuff I'm going to talk about, email me at pompomdana, yes, pompom like as in cheerleader, pompomdana@gmail.com. So everybody, please just write that down, pompomdana@gmail.com if you have any questions at all about any of the things I'm going to be talking about. So
I'm putting it in the chat as well.
Perfect, thank you. So I just want to tell you some of the things that we've been working on because it might kind of pique your interest and amazement at some of the things we've been doing. One of the main things we've been doing in coalition, we have lots of coalitions that we're part of, there's one really big one right now called No Concentration Camps in Colorado. And what we're doing is we are working on the making sure that the prisons in both Walsenburg and Hudson will not be reopening as detention centers, which they said they had plans to do. So like tomorrow night, we have a huge protest at the Hudson Correctional Facility. And we also are showing up in mass at the Hudson Town Hall, City Council Town Hall. So it's those kinds of things we're involved in. Another thing we're involved in, which is really interesting, is Key Lime Air. Has anybody heard of Key Lime Air? So Key Lime is a small airline based in Centennial, but at Centennial Airport, and they contract with ICE, and they fly airplanes across the country between detention centers, and they do it. All the passengers, and this is just standard ICE charter thing, but all the passengers in those airplanes are shackled, both in handcuffs, waist irons, and leg irons. And I've been doing a bunch of homework with the FAA and also the ICE flight ops manual. There are discrepancies about how you actually evacuate safely an airplane where everyone's in shackles. So we are doing a bunch of protest events. Key Lime, CU contracts with Key Lime to transport their athletic teams. So we have a whole other part of the project that is working with alongside or in conversation with students and faculty and the regents. We're actually and there's more and more coming up with that. So those are the kinds of things we're involved with. We also are involved with things like Ice Watch and Court Watch. Does anybody heard of that? So we have people for months who have been going down to the immigration court down at 20th and Stout. The volunteers go there and they keep an eye on in the immigration in the building, whether ICE is showing up or not, and talking to people who have appointments there, giving them information about whether they've seen ICE or not. So just giving resources to the people who are going for check-ins. We also have, that's called Court Watch. We always need volunteers to do that. We also are doing watches down at the ICE field office, which is down in Centennial. And we have folks there who are also monitoring the immigrants that are coming and going and keeping track of who's being detained and who hasn't been detained. So those are two really important things we'd love to have people help us with. So a thing that's really important right now, which is happening all over the country, folks, is that community defense. So what's going on in Minnesota, we're learning from what's happened in Minnesota and Minneapolis, happened in Charlotte, happened in Chicago. We're learning from them, and they're all sharing information out across the country. It's how to prepare for some sort of an ICE presence, a bigger ICE presence here in Denver. So we have a whole bunch of people who are now creating these community defense teams, which is really amazing. And also distributing these whistle kits so that people have whistles and information about what to do if they see ICE. So that is, I will give you a website for that one. It's called We Keep Us Safe. So it's WKUS hyphen.co.org. It's WKUS-co.org. How am I doing on time? Just tell me, just 2 minutes. Okay, so the other really exciting thing we've been involved with is Business Know Your Rights. So we have volunteers that have been going all over business areas in the Denver metro area, stopping at businesses and asking, have you talked to your employees about what happens if ICE shows up? We give them information about what to do, how to handle all that. We get volunteers that do this. And I'll tell you, the most amazing things happen when you stop and you talk to business people. They're so thrilled that you showed up. And they take the information, they ask a lot of questions. And the people who have volunteered to do this, it's been very enriching for them. And also they learn a little bit more about the businesses in their neighborhoods. So it's been like all of Golden, all the businesses in Golden people have gone to the volunteers. all of the businesses in Longmont volunteers have gone to. We are mapping now across the Denver metro area, the different areas, so that we can make sure we get to as many businesses in Denver as possible to get information to folks about what their rights are. Another thing really quick before we end, because I know this is something I've been involved with Liz on a different hat. I started an organization called Grow Local Colorado about 15 years ago. And we all partnered with you all last year when you did the harvesting of the apples and all of that. So we're involved in local urban agriculture and growing to donate, things like that. So if you ever are interested in volunteering with Grow Local Colorado, amazing group that has been growing food for donation for 15 years. So I think that's it for now.
Yeah, thank you. I also, just to provide some context also, Dana spoke with us 2 years ago when there were a lot of immigrant arrivals just kind of every day coming on the buses. And so I feel like just kind of seeing the evolution of your involvement is just,
How did we do we bring that up? We bring that up? Okay.
well, I mean, it's anyway, we've known each other for years,
Thanks,
but we're, I think, the kind of name of the neighborhood was something that we have worked on in the past. But no, I just wanted to have you speak as kind of an update on where you were 2 years ago and just kind of ways that folks, because there was kind of an outpouring of folks getting involved in helping folks who are at the motel shelters, providing meals.
Oh, I bet.
And so this is kind of just, I know that everybody who is involved in that has kind of jumped into kind of continuing to help folks in all kinds of ways.
Whatever's needed.
And, and so this is kind of where we're right now on that. So thank you. And so I think moving on, I think sorry, I'm gonna Kathy Moser-Egelkamp with Central Park Volunteers and Every Child Pediatrics. Oh, sorry.
There was a website that you said that I'm just wondering if you could put in the chat. It's WKUS. Sorry, excuse me.
CO.org.
Yep. And then
Thanks, Charlotte. Pretty good segue talking about the immigrants and going straight into Every Child Pediatrics, because we do serve a lot of those children. So my name is Kathy Egelkamp, and I am a board member for Every Child Pediatrics, as well as the co-chair of the Women's Affinity Group. Every Child Pediatrics is a nonprofit organization that provides health care to every child, regardless of their insurance or their ability to pay. We serve approximately 30,000 children across Colorado, $1 million of unreimbursed health care. I think, isn't Central Park population about 30,000, just to give you some perspective?
yes.
32,000, thank you. We offer primary care, dental care, behavioral health, and nutrition. We have 4 medical offices located in Denver, Aurora, Thornton, and Lakewood. We also have 8 school-based clinics throughout the Denver, Aurora, and Four Corner areas. And in those school-based clinics, the community is also welcome to come in. So you're not having to be there to take your child out of school. You're not missing work. We're providing healthcare at their school. We're also providing healthcare to the community. They are welcome to come in as well. 3 years ago, while making a Christmas wish list with my daughter, we asked ourselves, what do we want versus what do we actually need? And we're very fortunate. And in short, we didn't really need anything, but there is a huge population of kiddos that do. So we decided to organize a diaper drive benefiting Every Child Pediatrics. We asked friends, family, and most importantly, we asked the Central Park community to help us give back. We received over 75 boxes of diapers and wipes from families across Central Park, and we were overwhelmed by the community's generosity. I was then asked to be co-chair of the Women's Affinity Group for Every Child Pediatrics based on my passion for the organization. Since then, we've had toy and clothing drives, again with overwhelming response. My entire 3-car garage was filled with donations just from the Central Park community. This made me realize that there are so many people in our community that want to give back and actually want to get involved. They just don't know how, which is where the Facebook Central Park Volunteers page was born. We wanted to make it easy for people to give back to the community and find events that might work for them or tailored to their needs. We currently have about 650 members on our Facebook page. People are able to post about upcoming volunteer activities and events. We just ask that it's not political in nature. Currently, we are hosting a book drive, collecting any new or gently used children's books from picture books and early readers to about the 8th grade level. We take books in every language, especially because of the immigration. We also accept maternity books. We're doing this now till mid-February with 2 convenient drop-off locations at my house in Northfield, and I have a friend's house in Eastridge. And if those don't work, I am willing to come pick up the books from you if necessary. Every Child Pediatrics is always looking for volunteers, whether it's donating your time, building stuffed animals for our doctors to hand out when these kids are getting vaccinations for the first time in their lives. They may be 6 or 7 years old. They may have crossed rivers and mountains to get here, and they've never seen a doctor in their entire life. So imagine their intimidation when they go into a clinic, having never seen a doctor, and they're getting 7 shots. So we, as we build these stuffed animals. Were you at one of our stuffed animals? Okay. And it's a huge activity. We get such a huge response. We're actually outgrowing ourselves, having to find larger locations every year. Because people just can feel the joy of what they're putting into these stuffed animals. And you don't need to sew. You're literally just stuffing them and velcroing them closed. But the doctors hand these out at these visits. And it's just such an emotional thing to see these kids with their stuffed animals and their pride and the fact that they were very, very brave. So that's a huge thing. We build backpacks and we do school supplies prior to the school season. Or if you just want to donate directly to Every Child Pediatrics, like I said, right now we're over $1 million of unreimbursed care. Questions. I know you asked earlier about teens and students. So every high school student has to have 30 volunteer hours in order to graduate. Right. So my daughter's a senior now. She has helped me with all of these events. One of her favorite events is actually we do a trunk or treat at our Thornton office, where, and especially because she could have her own car this year. So you decorate your car. Ours was a unicorn. You dress in costume. You hand out candy, toys, books to the kids, and just seeing all of our patients coming in and the joy on their face and getting so excited. It's truly rewarding. And that's something really easy that the kids can do. I also have a group of high school students right now who are helping me collect books. They can get their volunteer hours. I can sign off on their volunteer hours for that. But we can always find events for them.
Would you have a minimum age?
You know what? At our stuffed animal events, it's family friendly, and we have had kids as young as 4 and 5 helping stuff the stuffing, and they love it. So there really is no minimum. It just depends on what their capability is.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a question. Tell me the name of the Facebook page again?
It's Central Park Volunteers.
And anybody that lives in Central Park can go ahead and post on that?
Yes, you have to become a member. I don't know, I think we have maybe 3 questions on there, but everybody pretty much gets approved. The only posts I've had to take down, they became very political in nature, which, that's not what we're about. We want to be able to give freely. We want people to be able to post their experiences, post their opportunities, things like that, and find things that are good for them. We have posted for Courtney Johnston has the Give 5 Mile High. That's the mayor's wife. That's her platform. We have posted her events on there. We don't consider that political in nature because it's just volunteer activities. I've participated in some of those.
Do you think community defense things about preparing for ICE showing up, would that be considered political or not?
you think?
If it's a volunteer activity, I think it would be okay. We just try to not go left or right on a lot of things because then things can kind of get taken over on Facebook.
Understood.
So, but I think that would be fine. I think it would be, you know, a lot of opportunities that some of our people are looking for.
Thank you.
If I may, as a member of the wonderful Northeast Denver Moms Facebook group, which provides me so many hours of entertainment. I think the only challenge is that perhaps your organization, if you had an event coming up, it's allowed to be posted because it's a valid volunteer opportunity and a lot of people would like to be part of it. I would worry, having seen things like this in our community, it is polarizing. It is political. It shouldn't be, but it becomes that way. So maybe it's just a matter of allow it to be posted, shut off the comments, because otherwise it's going to hijack and it'll just, and unfortunately it'll take the focus off of the good work you're trying to do. Right. That's the challenge. It's not the posting, it's the comments that come in.
Right.
So
No, and I agree with that.
Just trying to find a middle ground.
Yeah, I think if it's a specific volunteer action that you're looking for, yes. If it's a protest, no, that gets political. Does that make sense?
Those lines sometimes are a little hazy, but yeah, I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Did you have any other questions about kids or anything like that?
No, I was just wondering about the ages, because a lot of times kids are confined. The youngest of the organizations taken were 15.
Right.
And middle school kids need to be out
Oh,
and about
absolutely.
and with adults. So
They love building
That capacity.
backpacks. They love doing the stuffed animals. They love the trunk or treat, and we welcome it.
good to know. Thank you.
Yes.
How do folks get referred to? This is kind of not a volunteering question. It's actually just, how do folks like find out about the services at Every Child Pediatrics? Or I guess are there partnerships with groups that are serving these communities that refer them to?
So part of it is Health One refers a lot of people to us. Anytime somebody has a baby, if they don't have a primary care physician, they're not allowed to leave the hospital until they have a primary care. So if they're underinsured or uninsured, they're automatically referred to us as well.
Good to know. All right. And I just got the "we need to get moving" from Carol.
Please don't.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to just kind of move to our guests from the Denver Rotary Club. I don't know, Dan, if you wanted to unmute yourself or if the folks in the room, I guess.
Yeah,
kind of-
can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'll just say a couple of words and then turn it over to Marty and Noreen. As a resident of Central Park and the past president of Denver Mile High Rotary Club, I want to thank you for the opportunity to engage in this discussion about how we can cooperate for the betterment of the community. For 30 years or so, this club met down at the University Club on 17th and Sherman. And we, a year and a half ago, you moved to the Mosaic. So we are relatively new to the community. So this is really a timely opportunity to share what our vision is and see where we might engage with this organization. So I'm going to stop there and turn it over to Marty and Noreen. And if you see a Band-Aid on my head, it's because I was just knocking ice off a gutter and one fell on my head. So.
Not at all.
Being in the mountains.
That's not such. Well, I happen to be the president of the Denver Mile High Rotary Club this year, following on Dan. And Marty Waters is the chairperson of our local community service committee and has spearheaded a lot of our volunteer activities that members of our club do in the committee, in the community. So Marty is really going to talk about who we are and how we might work together.
Great, thanks. I did send you an image. I don't know if you're able to pull the image up.
I am,
If not,
I
worry about
just received I am not actually, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to share it.
Bottom line is we can send it out afterwards.
Yes, that,
People
yeah.
participated here, so I'll just talk to this. Just to give you a sense, I think people know about Rotary, Elks, Optimus, et cetera. Rotary is another community service organization, civic engagement, and we've been around in Denver for over 100 years. Our club is 40 members, most of whom actually live in this area, but also scattered around Denver. So though Dan said that we were downtown, a lot of Park Hill residents. I'm a Park Hill resident myself. As Dan said, he's a Central Park resident. So our fingers are in the community, basically. We provide local and international community service. I won't say much about the international. We do volunteer time, but we also do funding. So we do grant work as well. We have two pretty good sized projects currently taking place in Nigeria, building an agroforest community park, and one in actually Arizona with the Navajo reservation, teaching kids technical skills so they can get jobs in the computer area. Locally, what we do, a lot of the things you're talking about, we meet weekly at the Mosaic campus. We listen to what community members present, figure out what the needs are, and figure out how we might help out. So since we've been involved in the Mosaic campus, we've gotten ourselves involved with a number of projects taking place just on the campus itself. We're helping out with the Denver School of Arts. We helped out with the World Refugee celebration that took place. We worked with Emily Griffith, Archway Community. We helped build, these are low-income residents. We helped build community gardens, help buy the seeds and put the seedlings in. We've done a lot of environmental tree planting activity in this area, where we go out and canvass neighborhoods in partnership with the park people, Denver Digs, and tell people how they might get access to a low-cost tree or free tree, depending on their scholarship. And then we will go out and plant trees and distribute those trees as well. We are going to do a planting on the Mosaic campus of 10 trees in April, coinciding with Earth Day. That would be an opportunity if people would like to participate in that. We're going to plant 10 trees, again, in partnership with the different organizations that are based on that campus. We have also done a fair bit of work with immigration support. We've worked with Project Worthmore, Village Exchange, and we're also doing work with Metro Caring in terms of both food support, but with Project Worthmore, we actually adopted a family from Afghanistan, stuck with them for 2 years, made sure that they got into the United States, stayed in the United States, and met the needs, including a young 6-year-old who swallowed a quarter and needed to go to Children's Hospital, get emergency care services. So those kinds of events taking place. Mental health is an important priority for us, especially for youth, but also thinking about elderly and veterans. And so we're working strongly with Ashley Elementary, which is not, it's in the neighborhood. It's over on 23rd and Montview and Spruce. And we have a number of projects there. We're coaching soccer, basketball. We're doing what's called a reading for peace, where we use books that are geared towards psycho-emotional education 101. How do you take care of yourself? How do you feel good about yourself? How do you deal with conflict? That sort of thing. So we're doing a reading program with those kids. We're doing some basic English tutoring education as well with some of our volunteers. We help out with disasters that occur in Colorado. So when things take place, try to provide funds, and if we can, some direct service. That's a pretty good broad brush stroke of what we do. We have our fingers in a number of opportunities, but we're always looking for additional opportunities. What are the needs in the neighborhood? We attended the Hiawatha Davis celebration that took place about a month ago, I think, and asked members coming through what's important to you. And the two top ones that were registered were housing and food. Those are the two biggest ones that people said, these are problems in our community that we need help with. And so those are the areas that we like to try to provide our volunteer time and also some of our funding.
So we might bring ideas to you, but we would also be very receptive if you have something going on and you say, boy, it would be great if we had a little more manpower for this. We would always be receptive to the possibility of providing some volunteers.
Great. We have we meet weekly and we have a speaker. So I a couple of people that have already spoken tonight, we think might be great speakers, and we'll probably be outreaching, saying we'd be interested in having you come in and tell us about your programs. That's how we learn what some of the needs are and how we can help out.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our speakers. I think that right now anyway, we're going to run over a little bit on the time because it's 7:27, but I did want to just have a kind of a discussion among those of us in the room. You don't have to be a CPUN board member, like, but no, we have a guest. So just to ask questions of any of the folks who have presented tonight, and just kind of, I think that for those of us on the board also, just kind of, if we want to talk about, I guess, words of wisdom on just finding the right volunteer opportunities for either our guest speakers. I know, Dana, you kind of you've worn many hats in different kinds of volunteer organizations. And I'm sure, you know, you have both the volunteer page and the Every Child Pediatrics, and kind of there, it sounds like there's just a number of projects that the Rotary, that I apologize. The Rotary Club is also working on. So I guess I just wanted to open it up if anybody would like to talk about how folks can get involved, find kind of an opportunity that's the right fit for them, and also brainstorm ways that we as CPUN board members can contribute to the work that you're already doing in the community. Jamie.
I would just say that I was working with Dana on many things, but I was running the Harvest Festival for several years and I stepped away just for personal reasons. But that's something that come fall, if there were board members or people in the community who are interested in gleaning or harvesting fruit, there is an abundance of fruit that just goes to waste across our entire neighborhood.
And not just in the fall,
yeah,
the cherry trees.
Summer.
In the summer.
Yeah, but we've got apples,
service berries, spring.
Yeah, there's just so much if you go walking in the neighborhood that you see just falling on the ground and rotting. So if that, I might have energy again in the summer, but if anyone was interested in that, like, that was a really great partnership and we did that for 2 years at least. And yeah, so that's a good.
Yeah, and Grow Local did a citywide gleaning a couple years ago, and in one day we had 28 volunteers go out to a bunch of different neighborhoods, and we gleaned over 13,000 pounds of apples.
Wow.
Yeah, which then got donated to all sorts of different places. So it's really fun.
And some of it, because our trees are usually not treated and they have a lot of worms in them, but those can go to horses, they can go to goats, they can go to.
We sort them. We have the good ones and the seconds, and then the ones we compost.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah. It's really
Well, I'm thinking about how we can use the newsletter to inform, not just to say volunteer opportunities and then a link, but we want to market this. We want to invite people into the party. And so how do we do that? And we wouldn't have to put multiple paragraphs, but I think that, you know, just a little background. I had no idea what Rotary did. I mean, I know it from my parents, excuse me, but I had a vision that is completely incorrect. And so I really appreciate your being here and learning. But I think there's a lot we could do. You said a lot in a few minutes, and I think that we could market this and we could do something routinely with the newsletter. When I say market, it's like PR.
What's this though? I just want to make sure I understand.
So that I didn't know what Rotary did.
Oh, market Rotary. Got it. Okay.
Or any
or any of it.
And actually, I think
the list that can be
to the Central Park Volunteers Facebook page was kind of one of the things that we included in our newsletter for a while, and can re-up that.
I think one really important thing about volunteering is identifying what you're passionate about. And so, you know, age groups that you might want to work with, topics that are important to you, and do you want it to be recurring? That you're really making maybe a weekly commitment Or are you somebody who would rather say, oh, I'll just be open to a one-time opportunity that comes up and then I'll jump into that and you're not making a regular commitment and everything is fine. Everything is fine, but it's important, I think, to really, for an individual to really think about what is the nature of the volunteer work that's going to resonate with me.
I'd like to make just one quick comment. I know that we're living in a really difficult time right now. One of the things that people can do to take for self-care is actually to volunteer.
Yep.
And that's the antidote.
Get it.
The antidote to despair is that getting out there.
I'm gonna throw in something on top of that as well that fits. So we're also promoting with the Park Hill Park. People are aware that that's being constructed, and there's going to be the presentation of the current status of that this Thursday, kind of like the final view, if you will, before going into the details. We're trying to promote an initiative of promoting volunteerism. So within the park, having some sort of way of getting people excited about being a volunteer for the reasons you just described.
Yeah.
The benefits that it has for you, the benefit it has for
Your
the
health.
community. So imagine just some, for example, kiosk signs that just say, here's some 10 reasons why you might consider volunteering. Here's a QR code that would tap into like the city's volunteer central spot, basically, which exists.
It says, I guess, like where is the city's volunteer kind of?
There's actually a QR code that you can tap into.
And that's where I was going with the question, Carol, about what this was, because I do think we should, I mean, thank you so much for coming to speak about your organizations. We should definitely promote them. They're wonderful organizations and we appreciate your time. And can we make it broader and help people connect with the volunteer opportunities that resonate with them? Because you're so right. You have to think about what is your passion? What are you interested in? Perhaps what skills you have that you could share with the world, timing and all that stuff. So like, I thought, well, how would I go about doing? I mean, I have my own volunteer passions and so forth, but if I had never done it before, where would I start? So I pulled up my best friend ChatGPT and Volunteer Match is a national organization. So that might be something we want to promote. Like, hey, if you don't know where to start, it's, a little questionnaire, where are you? What are you interested in? What are your skills? Oh, you should try this. Now, Colorado has Spark the Change Colorado, statewide volunteer database that connects you with opportunities from many different partner nonprofits. So that might be a way to and then Project Helping is one of my personal favorites because it's really easy. Like you got 2 hours, you're local, great, go do that. Project Helping.
Can you explain it a little?
Because they also do children ones too. So Project Helping is all local, and you can filter by lots of different criteria. You can say I want one that is open to children or teens, and you can pick dates and so forth, locations, and it'll say, okay, here are the things that are available on Saturday between 12 and 4. And that's how I found out about Denver Rescue Mission or the Food Bank of the Rockies. And it's very time box things. So it's not for the recurring necessarily, but it's like, I have time on this afternoon. Where can I help?
Nice.
And you sign up through that app that then connects you directly with the organizations. It's super easy. It puts it on your calendar, gives you all the information. It's great. So that might be, maybe we provide, I could put police in there, sure.
And I think that, so
Yeah.
so just so folks know, our especially our guests who might not know this, we have email newsletter that goes out twice monthly. And it includes, and actually our next one goes out on Monday evening. So we'll be including actually the recording of this meeting, and links out to whatever resources folks want to send. And actually I am going to have to just because of time at the moment. So we actually have a few slides that we're going to go into on, we collected, actually, Kathy collected volunteer organizations from board members of CPUN, because I think that for the most part, most folks on this board many hats and also are volunteer, potentially overextended volunteering, which I think anybody who volunteers in an organization, when you see the need, it's very hard to say no. And there is like a great need right now. And it so we took suggestions from folks that ran the gamut from kind of one-off opportunities to political volunteering. And so I think that we're going to have to kind of skip ahead in our agenda, but I'll be including just some of that information in our newsletter that's going out on Monday, in addition to the information that hopefully I'll have from you all for how folks can get involved in your organizations or your efforts. And I tried to do that. We're a nonpartisan nonprofit, but I wanted to make sure folks kind of could get a full spectrum of like, here are your options. And they run from, volunteering, volunteering to do a trunk or treat, like for pediatrics, or kind of filling backpacks, to what the Rotary Club does, to know your rights for businesses around immigration issues. And so we actually have quite a long list of groups and organizations that barely scratch the surface. So I do think our next month, actually, there's going to be, at the end of the month, our board meeting is kind of going to be replaced by a community meeting of all of the registered neighborhood organizations in City Council District 8 at the end of the month. So our normal meeting time will actually be facilitated by Elizabeth and Kathy, and it's kind of about mindfulness. So I think that I kind of see our topics tonight and this meeting in February is kind of going hand in hand. It's kind of looking for ways to give of your time, but also to do it, I mean, mindfully and focused and kind of at peace, or finding some sort of kind of like inner, just kind of inner core of peace. And so that it's not just kind of like, I got to do a bunch of stuff to distract myself from things that are depressing me, which ask me why I know that. So anyway, I would just encourage folks to take part in Elizabeth and Kathy's meeting next month during our regular meeting time on the third Tuesday of the month. So thank you. I'm going to thank you to our guests. I will be following up by email with your handouts and opportunities. And if there are any opportunities for folks to get involved in your organizations that are in the near term, I would say within the next 4 to 6 weeks, if you have an event or a volunteering opportunity that you'd like us to highlight, just kind of make sure that I've got that. And the newsletter will go out on Monday at time to go 6 p.m. Thank you. And David, David kind of organizes all of this information and gets it out. So I just want to thank everybody for their time today.
Appreciate
Everybody who is here tonight is kind of also driven to give back to the community and do things in person instead of just being alarmed by what's on our phones. So I'd like to have more of that in 2026. So thank you so much for your time. We're just going to take, I think, a brief break. We're a little bit behind, but I just want to give us about 2 minutes to stretch our legs, and I'll move into the board portion of the meeting.
Unless there's.
Northwestern University.
All right, I have unmuted the meeting and, oh.
All right. Reverse.
Is that? Okay. Now, okay, I have unmuted the correct thing now. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so if folks can start making their way back to the table, we'll start the board portion. This is our first board meeting of the year. Okay. Folks can come back, but I think let's start. So we'll start with the treasurer's report. And then also Brian will be reporting out on the emails that we receive from the community members on the CPUN website.
Nothing really major to report from the treasurer's report. We our previous insurance, and this is kind of an FYI for some of the new board members. We do have director and general liability insurance. So if we do have events as we start talking about this, make sure to let me know. And we do have to have a rider to be covered for the insurance at those events.
So what is, I guess, like, what is the process for that?
The process is come to me, we fill out a form, we send it in, and then we get a form back. The only thing, like, we've never have filed a claim or anything, but like the mini golf tournament,
Yeah.
you know, somebody like gets hit with the golf ball and then sues us.
Yeah.
We have to, if we didn't have the rider, then the insurance would be.
Doesn't kick in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mini golf is a bad example because CPBA and Flightco have the insurance, and so we don't invoke our insurance. But if you, I'm sorry, yoga in the park, we would want to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
If somebody hurt themselves, then we the kickball tournament was the example where we always had it, and so it just it takes about a week to get the rider. So just give me enough notice. But the reason why I bring that up is we had a previous provider, and it went from $700 to $1,000 a year. We went back to the association that helps us with that, and they got us a new company. So we went from $1,000 to $392. So same coverage. Again, we have it for us too, as board members, that if we would ever get sued because we did something wrong, that would cover it. Other than that, the website costs, and then you'll notice the money for filing with the state. We have lots of filings we do, and you know, $10 here, $25 there that we have to file. So that's the only expenses that we have. And because we haven't been spending as much, we have built up a nice reserve balance that we have. This is in 20 years, this is the most money we've ever had in the organization. So
I do want folks to be thinking, because since we have like nest egg at the moment, and we wanted to kind of have more community events over the next year, you know, even if it's just having like coffee and cocoa or something like that, if we do neighborhood cleanup or yoga in the park or something like that. Just make sure that you have this in mind as part of the planning. And
the way we've worked it
Yeah.
is each committee has $150 a year. You can spend it however you want. You just have to, at the monthly needs, we just notify the board what you're spending it on. So
yeah. And then if it exceeds that amount, then we
come
do
back.
you come back to the board, present about what you'd like to spend the money on, and then we hold a vote on it and approve the budget expense.
I saw a recent INC email that it was a reminder time to like renew with the INC.
We did, and
So do we pay, what
Yeah.
is that?
$40 a year.
Oh, okay. And do we have to pay to the city, or is that just a filing?
No, that's just a membership application. So I paid for it and I actually haven't reimbursed myself, so that's why it's not up there. Because and that's the other thing. We have our funds at First Bank. First Bank just got bought by PNC. I don't know that's going to change with, but we don't pay anything for the bank. We also don't get anything. So like we don't have a debit card or anything. So like if you have expenses, they do use Zelle. So now that makes it easier. I used to have to like literally send checks, and now it's like, hey, I spent this money. Okay, I can Zelle you the money directly from the account. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brian. And then,
You don't like writing checks?
so the other thing, the executive board got together, we were talking, and I, as kind of the facilitator of Central Park United Neighbors at gmail.com, facilitate sending out stuff to the board. I apologize for the spam, but I just want to make sure you guys see it. I don't send everything out. And so a lot of times I'll email Carol and Liz and David and say, hey, we got this email, who should it go to? Or if it's Safe Streets, I'll send it to Carol and Amy. And so Liz kind of came up with the idea, we should probably just let people know what isn't getting sent out to the board, of things like contact us or things like that. So we'll start doing this. Nothing major here, but we had 4 over the last several months. There was a request about Central Park residents that were going to the Park Hill Food Pantry and wanted to know if there were resources in Central Park that the Park Hill Food Pantry could send our residents to. We kind of said we didn't have anything, so that's how we responded.
I think that just some context on this also is that I think it was the Park Hill, the Greater Park Hill RNO, like a registered neighborhood organization. They actually run a food pantry. They have an executive director and grant funding to be able to run a food pantry. They have actually lost some of that funding over the past year due to different kind of both federal and state changes in grant funding around this stuff. And so they've had to restrict the folks who they serve to be just Park Hill residents as opposed to regionally through the city. And so they do get folks from Central Park who come to their food pantry, and unfortunately they're not able to serve them. I think that I mean, I can send us, there are other food pantries within Park Hill. I don't think we have any in Central Park. And so it really is kind of the kind of food. So I know that East Colfax also has a food pantry, I believe. They've had a food pantry. And so it's just, but I do think it would be good to have a resource for folks from Central Park. Other than just generally, I think there's the big kind of clearinghouse for Food Bank of the Rockies, where you can put in your zip code and it'll tell you which day of the week and where folks are doing food distributions. So I think that, David, we should talk about that also, because I think that's something that we should definitely, if there are folks from Central Park trying to go access resources in neighboring neighborhoods, we should be providing that information.
Yeah, and the other, we were contacted by the Denver Regional Mobility and Access Control, just wanting, so we Liz keeps a list of those, and when we have openings, we'll invite them to a board meeting or to a community meeting. I do forward some of the stuff that comes from Denver planning, but there was a rezoning of a little space on north of Smith Road. It was kind of like, it wasn't worth sending out, but just putting
of land to the north of the train station that's vacant. But it was a portion of the property that we call the bulk fuel farm, which is a contaminated soil wasteland where they dumped all the jet fuel back in the day and nobody should go over there ever. And so this portion of the land is actually safe, and the property owner to the east, to the west, wants to expand and essentially build a parking lot on that. So they have the city is cash strapped. So they said, sure, we'll sell you this land. But in order to then be able to build a parking lot on it, they had to change the zoning from that open space, which doesn't allow you to do anything on it, to that industrial usage. So really it's, hey, we can't do anything with this except throw some dirt on top of the jet fuel and, you know, hope it goes away one day. So let's put a parking lot on top of it. So they did.
Are they going to disturb the jet fuel at all with like the work they have to do?
No. No,
Okay.
there's about 6 feet of topsoil between the surface and the jet fuel. So they can build on top of it.
We did in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's
That's more or less what we did everywhere. Actually, we took all that bad soil from everywhere else and we threw it in the bulk fuel farm, and then we threw a little more dirt on top and spread some grass seed. So
and
Talk about community gardens now. It's time to talk about community gardens.
yeah,
plant anything
yeah,
or eat anything, or well, go there.
Planter boxes.
yeah.
I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah. The last one was an anonymous email that we got that was kind of weird about some issues that were going on at the Parkside Apartments.
Yeah, it was an eviction. It was somebody who emailed us anonymously about trash that was left out at Parkside Apartments that was related to an eviction. And it happened. And by the time, and it was right before the holidays. I think by the time I got the email, it kind of parsed it. I drove, it wasn't too far from where I live. So I drove through, and so the issues they had emailed about were not
Non-issues.
yeah, well, they weren't evident from just a drive-by. And I did forward, so I think it was the MCA was closed for the holidays when we got this email, Jack. So that's why I didn't send it to you.
Always send it to me. I'm
Oh.
very bad about taking time off.
Well, I wanted to respect the hours of the MCA over the holidays.
We got a similar inquiry. I think that this mutual. I actually was able to talk to a real life human when I investigated the matter. Mostly because we don't let people give us anonymous emails anymore. And so it appeared from my investigation that there had been an eviction. And when there is an eviction, they take everything out of the unit and they put it on the curb, and you have to leave it there for 48 hours before you can get rid of it. And from the conversation I had with the park view folks, or whatever they're called, Parkside Apartments folks, they said, yep, that's an eviction. And in 48 hours, the stuff was gone. So I'm like, sounds like it worked. But that's state law. You take everything out, you leave it on the curb, you give them 48 hours to take anything that they want, and then you can dispose of the rest of it.
You can or you have to.
In this neighborhood, you have to. In other parts of the city, you don't have to. And when I say in this neighborhood, the MCA will use our covenant enforcement powers to say, move that crap. And then I will fine you $500 a day per item left on the ground until the problem goes away. And that usually gets their attention and the problem gets solved.
Property owner?
It would be the property owner.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And I had forwarded the
I've
message.
never actually fined anyone. That's just my threat.
Yeah, I forwarded the message also to the City Council District 8 office to see if they had received it. And also, since I know they help folks with, if they wanted to, they help folks with eviction issues or kind of the, kind of the larger issue around an eviction, and to see if they had received any information, and they hadn't. So that was, and it was, I think, right before the holidays, which is unfortunate for whoever this affected. So Yeah, it just,
And the goal of us reporting this out
Yeah.
is to have some of these discussions of you guys know that we are getting contacted and, it's not just going into the ether, but it also, we don't want to clog your emails with it too, so.
yeah.
It's like you sent me one of them.
Oh, it might have been then maybe I did email you, Jack. I kind of like then went into
I emailed.
hibernation. Oh, you did? Oh,
Yes.
then
Somebody,
that's why I don't
I
remember.
did. Thank you, Jack.
somebody emailed me.
So
Jack randomly gets a lot of the emails too. It's like, I think this is an MCA.
yeah. So anyway, and so I just
Something like, thanks for more work, Brian.
Yeah, well, I also just wanted to like appreciate like that Brian does like all of kind of like the air traffic control of the stuff coming to the website. So thank you, and just kind of triaging it and making sure the right people get the messages. So thank you. Okay, and so then just for folks to know, the executive committee, raise your hand if you're on the executive committee. So Carol, Brian, David, and me met this past Saturday just to kind of, I think we have not had an executive committee meeting since David joined us on the executive committee. So we had a lot to discuss. So we did we talked about updating the website. Mainly the board page was like very out of date. But Elizabeth and John, I think we need we need your bio, I think, John, and a photo. And Elizabeth, I think we need a photo, but otherwise we've updated your names on the board page. So it's just some housekeeping that finally we finally made some movement on in just updating the website. We're kind of working on the roles and tasks that each of the officers kind of takes on. Most folks know I started a new job about 6 months ago. And so I think we're kind of trying to right size different responsibilities since I'm a little less available during the day, or a lot less available during the day than I was before. And then we also, I think that this is a larger discussion. I think that Carol wanted to have, but we have some needs from board members around committees needing new chairs and a reboot. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Kathy, we need a chair for that.
Don't put her on the spot.
But we'll talk. But if anybody, and then also sustainability and community health and safety have been kind of dormant and could use a reboot and new committee chairs. So committee chairs can come from the community and also from the board. If you are a new board member who is not officially on a committee yet, like, consider that. And so I think Carol will have a larger discussion. But we also are doing board recruitment we have 5 openings for the board as of May. In addition to the folks who are kind of re-upping their next cycle. And so as the executive committee, we talked about reserving one of those spots to really try to have a student who lives in the community serve on the CPUN board and to recruit intentionally around that. And also to have to have more renter members of the board because I think that is definitely, in terms of like our board demographics, underrepresented given the demographics of the community. And so then this year, Brian and Carol will be heading up the board recruitment committee. So, okay, but would you like to?
No, I don't think. I'd actually like to talk individually with people about the roles of board members.
Okay.
And I think that would be a more efficient way to do it. And then I can be recruiting for my own committee. So.
All right. So basically, this is Carol will be in touch with everybody. Yeah. Following up on that. Thank you. Actually,
high school.
High school, yeah, high school or college. And yeah, or younger, if I don't know what the criteria is. But basically, like, we are a neighborhood that has lots of young people. And it's, I mean, entirely unrepresented on this board as a neighborhood organization. So we want to make sure that we're kind of including that perspective. And so then we'll be following up also just on the board recruitment process and timelines after this meeting. So now committee planning for 2026. So the just I'll just kind of run through the kind of existing committees. So formerly comms and outreach, we are now community building. And the idea is that we want to focus more on events, kind of events or opportunities for folks to connect in person. And then and also that is our outreach is kind of having opportunities for folks to connect in person. So we'll be talking a little bit more about what's coming down the pike on the next slides. But we just met last week and kind of are reorienting the focus of that committee. So stay tuned. So Safe Streets, Carol?
Right, I'm co-chair with Amy Campbell with Safe Streets, and the next meeting is Wednesday, February 4th at 3:00. That'll be in the newsletter. The individual that we had a relationship with for, gosh, at least a year or 2 years from Dottie has stopped talking to us since May. Amy does very nice, polite inquiries that are going, that are ignored.
That's a problem too.
Okay, well, this is a theme that I'm finding in many different areas.
I understand that Maggie doesn't work in that position anymore.
Oh, she doesn't.
She's moved elsewhere in the department.
Well,
Is there
my point being that there's been no response at all. I'm fine with that. I mean, I know they've had budget cuts. I know they lost people. They lost money. I'm just talking about, speak to me. 2 sentences and I'm good. Well,
Person's in their new role.
so at any rate, that's a continuing issue, and I'm seeing it in other capacities, in other organizations, in other situations. And just to kind of, Dottie is coming under a lot of fire right now, in various ways. And I had a response from 311, and I thought, gee, it's been a while. It was a response to a question that I had in 2024. I just got it.
Wow.
Yes. And I shared that with Amy. She told me that in December and January, she had responses from inquiries that she made in 2023 and 2024. It's not just that the budget got cut this past year. So I'm just, again, David and I are sharing some information, that keeps coming up through INC as well. The Ed Committee and Safe Streets are going to collaborate on organizing a panel that focuses on bike safety in our community. And we discussed this. I discussed it a little bit with Liz, and we think it would be a good board meeting rather than having it as a committee meeting. So Amy and I are working on that. And
I was
yes.
Big focus on e-bikes. I love that.
So anyway, that's what our February 4th meeting will love to have people attend and get ideas for that and ideas for panelists, that sort of thing. So I see the Ed Committee collaborating more with other committees and other events, that sort of thing, and doing our work that way. Monica Hunter, who is the new DPS director for our community, was going to be here tonight, but what I appreciated was that she responded immediately to the request as a community partner. She was unable to come tonight, but again, the communication was immediate and respectful, and I appreciated it very much. And I'll try to get some information into the newsletter so that we have an ongoing relationship with her. And I asked David, we both attended on Zoom, the INC meeting, not the whole thing, but I just wanted David to talk a little bit about what his impressions were for the time he was there.
Yeah, so it's like there's pretty much a full event or like a full events calendar for the year.
Yeah.
The INC is going to do the film festival again this year.
Yeah.
May?
I think it's May.
Is
Yeah.
it the same?
No,
It's not the same selection.
No.
Okay.
No.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
But you don't get to run.
Yeah. And then they're also going to do the leadership day and awards again, which I think will be their third time doing it. They're doing officer elections right now. The meetings are open to anybody too.
Okay.
So like you can come even if you're not a delegate. And then they also were talking about struggles with Dottie and about how their conversation was around the street changes, particularly along Alameda, which have received a lot of like press coverage. But they also have specifically said that some of the responses, the city responses to community seem to be very loose,
Haphazard.
considered, and not just in that area of the city, but kind of broadly. So
Can I put in a plug for the joint RNO meeting that we're having next month? Because I believe Amy Ford is one of the speakers. So she's the director of Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, Dottie. And so that is an opportunity for all of the neighborhood organizations kind of in our city council district to have the heads of these departments, like to actually be speaking directly with community members. And so, and I know that's kind of the number one department that the like all of the neighborhood organizations
Yes.
kind of wanted to speak directly to.
Is the Marno meeting here?
So no, it's actually at the Mosaic campus. Hold on. If somebody can find, it's on our website. It's February 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Mosaic campus. And if you can share it in the chat, it's on our website.
it's not 6:30.
No, it's not on a Saturday. It's on a Tuesday night. And then we'll also kind of planning upcoming events. And so I think, wasn't there another INC topic you wanted to bring up? I can't remember.
Well, what I don't know if this is what you were thinking of, but one thing that struck me for the time that I was on the Zoom is that there is a lot of community building going on. There's a real focus with INC. How do we connect, not just within our individual communities, but all of the RNOs, all of the communities in healthy, supportive ways. And there's something else I'm going to put in about, did you get the email about Weavers, which I've never heard of before. And so I think that's really an important thing for people to be aware of. So that struck me as well, that it was about who are your people. I keep saying that. Whether you're going to be buddies or not is one thing, but who can you count on? Who's a resource for you in many ways. And so that was one of the big impressions that I was left with at that meeting on Saturday.
Okay. And just since we do have a guest who's not a board member, I just also want to and since we do record this to put for folks to watch later, just like there's a lot of acronyms. RNOs are registered neighborhood organizations. The INC is kind of the RNO of RNOs. I don't know how familiar you are with it.
Fairly.
Oh, you are? Oh, then we need to talk afterwards. Okay.
Thanks for getting your sign up.
Yeah, and thanks for sitting through the board meeting for this. So okay, and so the for folks who have been involved in the DEI committee in the past, I think I need to send out a separate email because our meeting is next week. We don't have a chair, and so we need to do some talking about that. And what? Oh no, Mandela has stepped down in the fall. So that's one of the board openings. this spring. So we'll talk further about that, but that's kind of why it's not on there. But next Tuesday night from 6 to 7 is the DEI committee meeting. Okay, so we wanted to jump into just have a few minutes left, but just kind of give folks a look ahead for the next few meetings. So we have upcoming events and meeting topics. And so in March or April, this is the Safe Streets meeting that you're planning with Amy Carroll on e-bike safety and kids. And then I know we'll have March and April school and neighborhood cleanup events. I think is it Willow Elementary, Heather?
Yeah, Willow will do in March, and then I know Amy's involved in the BTA at Isabella Birds. I'll reach out to her and see if I can figure out something. Maybe we could do April South End campus.
Yeah, and so we'll be in the newsletter that's going out on Monday. We'll kind of have all of these and a link to I think it's the Google Calendar. Did you put it together, Kristen? Or
think so. You
yes.
gave me credit for it. So
Yes, exactly. The Google Calendar with all of this in addition to what's on our website. But we'll be following up with that. And then I think Elizabeth is planning an outdoor yoga meetup as the weather when the weather warms, like for real, like at least seasonally appropriate.
Afterwards.
Yes. And
yoga, you can come for donuts and coffee.
Exactly. And so then the topics, so the topic for next month is going to be the joint RNO meeting at the end of February. And then we also will have the mindfulness in place of our regular meeting on the third Tuesday. It'll be Elizabeth and Kathy are planning kind of mindfulness. And I guess if you can think of a snappy name for it, like we need to put it on the website. So come up with it.
Is that for us? Is that open to?
Oh, it's open to the community. So all of this is open to the community.
Great. Either Thursday morning.
I already have coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Okay, great. So we'll have
more for you after that.
Yes. And so then just thinking ahead, we'll have, do you think that your the e-bike safety meeting would be for the March topic or the April topic?
I am not committing at this moment.
Okay.
I'll commit in a few days.
Okay. Well, there are also potential topics, basically through June. And then in July, we kind of take our break and then reconvene in August. So there's the primary elections coming up at the end of June. And so I think letting folks some information we're going to be including in the next newsletter actually is around the caucusing process, both and that's a partisan process. So we'll kind of link out to here's where you can find out for the Republican caucus and assembly, and here's where you can find kind of the Democratic stuff. If you are not registered for a party, I believe it's February 9th is the deadline to register with a party if you want to be involved in the caucusing process. So we're going to be including all of that information in Monday's newsletter. I'll send a digested version for you. And actually that was part of the slides that we skipped around like community involvement that people had recommended. I know that there are people who are more or less involved in kind of different sort of election volunteering, and there's partisan election volunteering and there's nonpartisan election volunteering. Where you can do that with the clerk and recorder's office, which I think, Heather, you have experience doing that. So as we get closer to the primary, we'll be sharing out information on that. I know that there is some interest actually in talking to the city auditor. And so I'm reaching out to that office to make sure that we can get him at some point in the first half of the year. And then we'll have our annual forum in May, which includes electeds, talking, the development update, which I guess, Jack.
It's really not, Brotherfield doesn't really exist anymore.
No, exactly. I was wondering, so for the parcels that are still under development, who should we, who should we be reaching out to now to speak at our May meeting?
I think. So, you have transit-oriented development, around the train station. We're still in the design phase on that. And then you have parcel 8, which is mostly done. We're doing earthwork. We have a Habitat for Humanity project. I can do it for you if you'd like. I have all of them. I have to approve them all, so I have all the plans. And that includes the field effective way.
Yeah, I guess like where is the shops at Northfield development at?
Yeah, so the shops at Northfield is very, very. So first, nobody works for the city anymore. So any projects that were underway really came to a grinding halt. As I understand it, the planner that was assigned to that project, they were emailing back and forth, and then they sent an email. The Northfield team sent an email and got an auto reply saying that the planner had been laid off, and a new planner has not yet been assigned. So the parcel has been rezoned. It is not yet entitled, and we should expect that to take a very long time. That's the update that we have there. I feel confident though that with that group, they will be back to talk to us when they have something to talk to us about. But they don't have anybody, returning their emails because they don't work there anymore.
I was gonna say we all know what that is like. City departments. So okay, thank you. I think we'll touch base closer to May on like.
I can give you, I can make that happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Probably the easiest way of doing it.
Okay, thanks. And then in the second half of the year, we'll have the mini golf fundraiser that we partner with the business association on. And then I was thinking for our, there will be a number of, every year is an election year, but this year is the midterm elections. So there will be a lot of stuff to vote on in November. I think in Denver, for the most part, in terms of like elected positions, that kind of gets determined during the primaries versus November, but there will be a lot of ballot initiatives coming. If you see folks collecting signatures in front of the grocery, in front of King Soopers, that is very, 99% is going to wind up on our ballots for better and worse in November. And so I think that in September or October, before the ballots get mailed out to everybody, I wanted to have some sort of forum just to kind of a 101 and or debate on the different ballot, yes, no positions on different ballot initiatives. And I know we've talked at the kind of community building committee meeting that we had, we're talking about in the fall, having a donation drive for socks and hygiene kits. And I think that one issue we were talking about during that meeting was not having a place to store donations. And actually, I think I have a solution to it, but we don't have District 8 here. But their building used to be where the entire bottom floor that is not the DMV used to be the police district office. And now that is like just kind of open space. And I know that they've used some of that space for storage for different groups. So if we do have a donation drive, that is potentially like one place we can ask to store donations. But I think that kind of focusing on donation drive for socks, warming items, and hygiene kits for the fall would be good. So any thoughts on that? Were we going to do, actually, that's a good question. Okay. I guess, I think we need to think of like, when are we releasing it and then get backwards? So what would you think? Do you think, so are you suggesting releasing it in kind of like the last quarter or of 2026? And then working backwards on planning for that, or, okay. 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 Well, that is like the difficulty of doing the survey in kind of the like fourth quarter, like Q4, is that there's like, this year is an election year, and then we have the holidays. And I think that's what we ran into the last time. We didn't release it until the beginning of the year because we just ran into the problem with the holidays and getting responses. So let's do some thinking on that. And so actually also, if anybody would like to get involved, like, it's not necessarily a formal committee, but there are like when we do the survey, it is a kind of meets regularly. But I think that it's kind of a weirdly important like piece of information, like kind of data collection that our group does, that we need to start planning.
Community survey. I think there's like a lot of room for opportunity and some questions we ask.
Okay, great.
I know we ask kind of the same stuff every single year, but I don't know what we really do with knowing that change over time too much. So I don't know, might be worth asking some new stuff.
That was a historical.
Yeah.
Amanda would go back and.
No, and I get it. What do we do?
Like change over time.
We know it, but what do we do with it?
I mean, it would change the direction of the things we were doing on the board, theoretically.
Yeah.
You know, if the survey results change dramatically. Did we ever do anything since the survey started? Probably not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, and you know, if Mark was here, I'm channeling my best Mark.
Maringer.
But you know, Mark's thought would be, why do the survey if we're not going to do anything with the results? And so I think that's the other part of the discussion is, are we just doing the survey to do the survey and say, oh, we're asking the community, but then we don't do anything with the results? So I think we as a board have to keep that in mind too.
Well, I will say that, you know, at the top of this meeting, like kind of talking about mutual aid volunteering opportunities, I did go back to the survey to look at volunteerism and how people are already involved in, you know, in different ways in the community. And so I think that it's one of those things where we dip into we dip into it when, you know,
I agree.
when it comes up. And I do think that we should think intentionally about how both how we're designing it and how we're designing it for use. And so, yeah, but I think that's good. I guess like, if you can get back to us, Heather, on like a little bit of a loose timeline, like kind of working on an idea, like what you would see as an ideal launch date and what needs to happen, kind of moving back, like what are the milestones that we need to do, and then about how many folks, if there are, and also if there are folks who are interested in helping with it, I think reach out to, I mean, since you worked on the last one, reach out to Heather with your interest.
You, Heather.
All right.
Yes.
On the socks and hygiene kit.
Sure.
It may be an opportunity to partner with Christmas in the Park. Have you guys heard about that?
No.
It's a cool, so it happens on Christmas Day. You don't have to be affiliated with any religion. It happens to have been started by a church in Denver. But there are all sorts of different groups that, I mean, my family just does it individually. But you can sign up for a table, like one of these big tables, one or two, whatever. And then you say what you're going to bring, and then you do your collection. And you have all your goods, and it's for everybody who wants to come and gather goods. I mean, it's everything.
Is it in Civic Center Park or?
It's right in front of the Capitol.
Okay, yeah. So it is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like that part right in front of the Capitol. It's where we ended up That's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's everything from tents to socks to rolly suitcases. It's a great event. Yeah, it's really good. And sometimes people are looking for something to do on Christmas. I mean, not everybody has little kids that are opening presents every morning, or that morning. And sometimes you just need a little bit of joy. And so I don't know, I love that organization. So it might be something that maybe CPUN actually organizes a table and then we get volunteers to come pass things out too.
I think we can talk about that. I think it'll also depend on kind of the response we get on a donation drive. So anyway, I would also say that, because for several years I would do a sock donation. I would do personal, like sock donations, like on my porch that I would collect. And actually I would say like by October 1st, it's important. Like to have that, like to start, like the weather, once the weather starts to turn, just kind of continually being able to make sure that it makes its way to outreach workers, and stuff. So I think like if we have enough to, like, if we have enough donations to be able to do that, but I would say that starting, like, ideally, I would want whatever donations we have kind of getting distributed to the places that need them when they need them.
That's fair.
Earlier in the season. So,
ask you questions.
Sure.
Topic of donations. One of my thoughts around and I think we kind of touched on this on our meeting, was around the yoga meetup is, and I'm thinking about it now because since we don't have a food pantry in Central Park.
Well, every elementary school does. Like in some, I mean, just I do want to like all of the schools in the neighborhood do kind of have their own food, but it's not. It's if you're not connected to the school, then you don't have access to it. So I mean, you're right, but also there are kind of food sources like within the neighborhood too, for certain parts of the population.
So I was just wondering if we did a non-perishable food, bring that yoga as like your admission, like a canned foods, whatever. And I just wanted to ask, since you're talking about a place to store and you're thinking about the specific, maybe if we do the yoga thing in the park, we collect donations, could we try to get this storage space for those donations?
I think we need to ask the district aid office. I'm like volunteering them and I don't know if that
do you make that
available, but I think yes. Yeah.
That would be
so.
I think.
Yeah. And also, I mean, depending on like the amount of donations, I could probably put stuff in my like basement. But I mean, if it's kind of a larger amount, we can see if
large amount.
So I mean, but I think that is a good kind of like, I think that's a good initial ask, and then to plan for the fall of a larger donation drive. So
do y'all like that idea of like bring canned goods, bring box stuff? Is like we can put that as like your ticket price. You don't have to, but we had talked about maybe a monetary donation. I think you had suggested that, but I don't know. I'm kind of liking the food idea.
This is also reminding me that like as I'm telling people to, and it's anyway, we're over time. I just like it's reminding me that actually we also have kind of an event planning. I have an event planning document and checklist for folks. So as folks are thinking of ways to have just community events over the next year, I'll share out with the board the event planning document that we put together. That actually I think it was the powwow that we did for Native American Heritage Month a couple of years ago. Anyway, I think it's a really comprehensive planning document to just kind of help as folks organize. So, okay. So on Tuesday, February 17th, we're having the mindfulness and I didn't finish that. So as I'm like typing this last night, that Elizabeth and Kathy are planning, we'll be sharing more information on that after you all meet. And then on Tuesday, February 24th, there's the joint RNO meeting from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Mosaic campus. So we'll be sharing more information out of that. So thank you to everyone, and the last thing we have are the welcome bags that Kristen is graciously coordinating. So please see Kristen and grab some bags. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
See everyone next month, hopefully on both the 17th and the 24th, or one or both. So thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
You.
Oh, yeah.
Stop sharing.
All right, I have 7 bags. Thank you. I don't know why you have 5. I'm so.
Well, the last
Let's
time we
fight
picked them up, I just never got a list of who to deliver.
That's so sad to me because I went back and looked after you said that you had some and everything had been distributed. Like there were no, but sometimes I told I'm going to get the address